as they get Federal Aviation Administration clearance for their full commercial launch. So I think that we're going to see some profit taking early on in the pre-market here. And I'm sorry, early. We'll see some profit taking right at market open, and then we could see some of that strength come back. I think that this could pull back as hard as like $42 per share, because that's where one of the previous highs were, and that sort of resistance can act as support once we're beyond it. So we'll watch where that happens to play out. Good morning, good morning, good morning, Angelito. I started to consolidate my words there. I assimilate them very often. So we'll watch how this price plays out. So looking over at, oh, I got to share my, oh, I do have WEBULL up. Okay, we're good. Yeah, so right across the tops here, 41.69. And if we look at the daily chart for Virgin Galactic, there we go. That should pop up there in a second. Boom, boom, boom. Where am I looking here? Okay. Well, perhaps I was looking at something else when I thought $42 per share, not seeing it. However, we can still look at the price action that we've had over the last 2 days, so Wednesday and Thursday, hitting that double top resist at 41.65. We have a really nice formation coming here leading up to a breakout, and we're going to see that come to fruition today because the pre-market action that we see. We're getting a lot of green lights from the Fed overall about inflation being transitory, about economic recovery. Growth stocks, we're starting to see a rotation coming back to those. Virgin Galactic being one of those areas where we should see a lot of continued strength coming out of them. I think that this price action, of course, you're not going to see it just continue to rip up and ramp up over time. We should see some decent volume coming out of this today. Like I said, I expect to see some profit taking right off the bat. We have about 5 minutes until the morning until the market opens. Good morning, Lee. Good to have you. Those of you who are watching who haven't hit up the comments yet, please do so. Go ahead and greet me and let me know if there's any stocks that you want to see in the pre-market here as we go forward. Digital Turbine, that's one of my favorites there. Let's take a look at that one. Seeing it pop up like we have here in the pre-market, up 7.5% almost. All right, an incredible day. Wow. I haven't watched this one. I didn't watch this one at all yesterday, I'll be honest about it. But I did buy into this one when it was in the 60s, figuring that it would quickly get us back into that 70 range. And this really does have, if we go back to the previous ranges that it has, this has room up to like $100 per share. Analyst estimates on this one right now sitting at 79. We're below all on the 5 analyst estimates that we have. We're below the low one, and we have lots of room to go up to the high analyst estimate that we have up here. So that's like a 60% upside from where we're at right now to get up to that high price. And where are we looking at? Like, I don't know, 40% or so up to the average analyst estimate, and about, we'll call it 10%-ish, a little shy of 10% to get the low analyst estimate over the next 12 months. Going to the chart on it, we got a little bit of a price wall I see in the level 2 there, right around the $80 mark. Oh, nice. Pyro, I'm glad that it worked out for you so far. Yeah, MAXN, Maxion, absolutely awesome in terms of timing. And this infrastructure stuff and the green energy movement should really help it out. So this is Digital Turbine. Check out the 200 period moving average that I have on here that it almost came down and tagged it sort of as support. We're still above it, so that's a bullish sign. We were able to significantly cross above the 50 period simple moving average that I have on here. So that now too is another bullish sign for us. And you can look at this sort of as like a 3 white soldiers. So this could be that final reversal that we're looking for to put us back into that bullish territory and finally break us out of this sort of volatile period that we saw with this range-bound trade that was taking place over time before this big sell-off. When I reported about this being like a range trade opportunity, I think that I was right around in here saying, hey, this has room to go back up to the mid-90s or so. You can see it peaked out at 102 that we have. So I was saying that you could do it sort of as a swing trade opportunity that would bring you back up. And finally, we made it up over these previous peaks. It looks like, as a matter of fact, just yesterday, I can't believe I overlooked this one. Like I said, it is one of my favorites that's out there right now. And I really think like making it back up into that 90 range could totally happen over the next few weeks or into the next few months, especially now that we've crossed over these previous highs, that now we don't really have anything stopping us in between as far as getting back up to those previous highs that we had. So if we get good earnings reports coming out from them and also good tech companies coming out, a big tech company is giving a sort of forecast to overall tech. That's something that we really want to watch out for. Give me 1 second, Lee, and I'll read about that. I'm going to do a time check. We have less than a minute going into the there we go. Going into the market open here. I just want to take a look at some of the higher plays that we have. There's Virgin Galactic rocking about 20% up. Grove Inc. I saw that one. That one's one of the big movers that we have. GRVI. That one was definitely up on volume, so there's probably some news going with it because typically I don't see it in the pre-market volume charts. So let me see. What do we got here? Oh, they must be brand new. Trading debuts, what investors need to know. Okay, so it looks like it just IPO'd yesterday. That would explain why I haven't seen it. And common shares, $5 per share. So what's the price right now? We're definitely going to have to leave the daily chart and go down to see what's going on. This is too new. I'm not going to see a lot of what's here, and I know absolutely nothing fundamentally about this company. I do see that we're sort of forming a wedge pattern, so this could really go either way. Market's open. Let's check out Virgin Galactic. See if we get that profit taking that I expected to see early on. All right. Wow, we peaked out. There's a double top resist we have in the pre-market hours, so that doesn't always mean a whole lot. And we're at the 30-minute. Let's drop down to the 5-minute chart. It's going to tell us a little bit more for how we're performing right off the bat. There's Nike popping in at 14%. Excellent. So on the 5-minute chart, it looks like we have just a small-ish sort of area support right around the $47. If we look at the level 2, $50 is where we're actually hitting some pretty good resistance. So this is probably going to try and hold us below that 50, and that goes right along with what we see here for this double top on the 5-minute chart. We'll see if this drops off over time. Let's go down to the 1 minute, as a matter of fact, and see if we see anything else. Wow, where's our support coming in? Where's that price? All right, down to about 46, around 47, somewhere between there is where we're starting to get a lot of that support coming in. We have a lot of buy side pressure right around that 46, 47, 50, somewhere around in there. And there we can see that price wall coming in right at the $50 mark. So from right now, we have like, ooh, look at that. Watching the 1 minute chart at the open is really something. And you can see that different battle that we have playing out. That there comes the sell side pressure, and it just got melted away. Wow, awesome. So we moved up to a price wall at like $47. Looks like about where we'll hold our low. And these sort of wicks that we have here are going to shake people out of their trades. Incredible. What sort of volume did we get right at the open there? 14 million shares traded, and that was just in the first minute of trading. Let's go up to the 5-minute and see how things are playing out for us. There we go. We'll see how this plays out. This could end up being a very narrow range that we see happening. Lots of, wow, definitely lots of buy-side pressure. Look at that. Holy cow, that's going to push up. There it goes. So it pushed up for us, and then it looks like we still getting a lot of selling pressure lower now. Instead of being at $50 now, it looks like it's coming around like low to mid 48s. So people are just going to keep on battling over this. I guarantee you that the profit taking that's taking place is trying to could possibly outweigh the buying pressure that we have. So we'll see what sort of test we have. Endless estimates on this. We're running pretty rich right now. It looks like this hasn't quite updated to the current price of $47, almost $48 per share. But from the analyst estimates that we have leading up to this, we are running at the high side of this. So for as far as getting into commercial space flight, where we actually are getting consumers onto it, it's going to be high end at first, and then it's going to work down to the less affluent people that you have. And eventually that could become very big business. And I think that's why people are so excited about this. So if we were looking at this from a long-term perspective, There we go. Check out that gap up. That's just beautiful. So long-term perspectives, gaps naturally get filled, and we don't really have much of anything surrounding this whatsoever. So as some of that hype wears off that we have from like May 22nd when they did their test launch, that led to their approval today, that explains a lot of the price action and the excitement that you see. I think that in the short term, at the very least, this is going to come back down. Where if you're looking for buying opportunities, I think that those buying opportunities are going to come along. Today, you're going to have a lot of people FOMO trading this with that huge gap up like they have, and they're going to try and capitalize on that excitement. But those people should have been in yesterday, or even back here when it was sort of trading sideways, that where we had a bullish flag pattern forming up for us. It led to that breakout, and then look at that positive catalyst today. But like I said, gaps naturally get filled. So as some of that hype and momentum wears off, we're going to fill that in, and we're going to see at least the low 40s in the short term before we continue any sort of upward trajectory again, or bullish movement that we have on Virgin Galactic. Chart wise, we have a positive slope right here going for us for the 200-day moving average, and the 50 coming up to cross it to form a golden cross. And of course, like I said, you have the news as a catalyst causing that strong momentum. So even if this does tumble back down, we have a lot of bullish signs moving forward for Virgin Galactic. All right, let me catch up in the comments here. I was kicking myself. I want to buy PaySafe. I was texting Buddy about swapping out of FRX. Wow, yeah, let's check out PaySafe. Yeah, Lee, there's so many times that I found great opportunities that I was like, yeah, I should really, I should get into this one. You know, it'd be a great time to do it. One of the famous ones I think of is 3D Systems, DDD, and I can't tell you how many times I meant to invest in it, and then something else got my attention because I didn't jot down the entry price that I had for myself, which at the time was under $20 per share. I missed it. And I think just recently during the sell-off that we had leading up to the middle of May, I think it did drop down below $20 per share again. And last I saw, and I'm going to have to check again, but last I saw it was back up over $30 per share. And I'm just like, why do I keep missing this one? So I guess the lesson there is that if I really want to get into it, that I should really pay attention. All right, so PaySafe. We don't have 200 days for the 200-day EMA to show up here. Big gap up, and Lee, we are sitting up above this level of support that we have right here. And let's see what we have price-wise. So we have the 50-period simple moving average sort of acting as support for us, but we also have this previous low that's over here. So as long as we close above that, that could still act as support for us. What do we have to fall on? We don't have anything to fall on. So if that support falls through, then you could have other buying opportunities with PaySafe. I don't know what the news is here. There you go. Initiated is outperformed. That was back on the 18th. Price target $15 per share. So yeah, that 12-month price target of $15 per share, when we get there much faster than what the analysts predict for it, than what we're looking for, or what we could be seeing is future fundamental value already being priced into the stock. So that's one thing that we can look at there. Another thing is that it could be the feelings about the stock, the excitement that people have, and that sort of psychology that goes along with it. Another thing about buying in now is these double tops that you are, this top that you have here and this top that you have here, are pretty much even right around the high 12s before we even get to 13. So buying in now just to hit that resistance and fall back down, especially when we have a gap to be filled. I mean, I hope for people who are bullish, who love this price action, who are looking at this long term, that it does continue upward. Or if they're short term traders, if I was the one trading into this one and I was in it yesterday, for example, I'd be cashing out today because of the resistance that we see up ahead and the fact that we are getting so close to that $15 mark. Let's see what those other analyst estimates. Well, 15 is actually the low. Nice. So there's actually 15 being the low is a good thing, and then 19 being the high, $7. So we have over a 50% upside over the next 12 months. So depending on if I was trading this versus investing in this, that could definitely determine how much of those shares that I held on to. So if you missed it, I think that you could have other opportunities when some of the excitement wears off on pay safe and on days when our market bias isn't quite running with us. It looks like we have a fair amount of green today. I didn't look at the red yet. But if we check out the markets to see how they're opening for us, I'll expand this. There we go. Well, okay, so we have the NASDAQ taking a little bit of a dip. The Dow Jones actually opening up a little bit. S&P acting a lot like the NASDAQ is right now. It looks like the Dow Jones is actually exaggerating things a little bit more. All right, what else we got here? ME long term. 23andMe. So this was VGAC. Did they? I guess they completed their merger. All right, I actually held on to Virgin Galactic probably a little bit too long. Not yeah, it was VGAC. Probably held on to it a little bit too long. I'm saying Virgin Galactic makes me think of space, but I was actually thinking about the acquisition part of it. So I think that this is sort of a genomics play, and really for them, it's a matter of turning the current business model into profitability. So what we want to see is the customers that they have, not only that there's any sort of retention, but that they can also put out a lot of revenue and turn it into serious profitability for them. It looks like it's been pretty volatile over the last few weeks. And we've really had a big spike up there in volume. I don't know if this one got squeezed or if it was just one of the popular type plays that it was some sort of momentum trade. It looks like some of that volume is coming back out. If we look at the level 2, at least for today, 1239 is where we're hitting a bit of a price wall and where we have a lot of sell side pressure. So that's another, what do we got here? Like 1 or 2% up from, I'd say probably like 2% up from now before we really get into that sell side pressure. So analyst estimates on this one, they don't have any yet. It's probably too new. There you go. Let's see what else it has to say. Board of directors. Okay. All right. So this is pretty recent. So some of that hype that we could have seen been leading up to that SPAC merger, and that happened on the 17th. So there's the 17th big ride up, and now it is 23andMe. And so now we see some of that price settling a little bit. I would check out their price to sales and see how much money they're bringing in and what they're currently trading at, what their market cap is, and just see how rich they're trading, and maybe see if you can find some of their peers, and through some arbitrage, see if they are trading rich or if they're trading about right, if they're trading a little low. Those are all things that we would want to know to see that happen. And the 50 period that we have here, the 50-day, has inflected for us. So that's a good thing to see that price action move up. But some of it could be related to that lead up that we had to that merger between VGAC and 23andMe. Speaking of that, of mergers, CCIV, I believe July 23rd is the date that got announced for them switching over to Lucid LCID. There we go. And EVs have been doing well in general. SPACs have had some of that pressure taken off. That some of that that downward pressure that we've had has cooled, and that's a good thing. We can sort of see a linear pattern coming off the lows that we have here. We're trading up above the 50-day. Also excellent. We have, it looks like, decent support coming in right around like that $22-ish per share. That's not where I wanted to go. I wanted to go to the 30-minute chart. Okay. Bezos company Blue Origin went public. As much as I loathe the man, I'd invest into it. Yeah, so early on in the days of StockMo, so depending on whether or not you were following StockMo from August, I happened to stumble across him, and he did a rice video. I don't know if he still has it up or not, because it was like super early, before he even had 1,000 subscribers, I think. I just thought that he was an entertaining guy who had some cool perspectives. So I went and he had one about, it was a rice comparison of across the top YouTubers, and then compared it to Jeff Bezos' net worth. And I just recently saw a TikToker who did the rice thing. So I don't know if this is a common thing, if they saw StockMo do it and they also wanted to do one. But just, man's got an incredible amount of money. But yeah, Blue Origin has had a lot of promising progress. They have their test flight coming up. is it July or August of this summer. So that's also going along with Virgin Galactic and their commercial launches. That Blue Origin also has their manned test flight for the, do they call it low orbital flight? I think is what they call it. So, I mean, space travel, that's something that I don't know, at least for the common person. It's something that's anticipated to be big business. It's probably still years off before anybody who would, be anything less than a millionaire would be able to experience. But it's still, it's a cool thing to dream about. And so seeing people, knowing that that's actually a possibility, I mean, I would totally be interested if it was ever something that would drop into my range of affordability where I'd want to actually put money on it. I would definitely do it. All right. Well, check that out. That's pretty cool. These last few candles that we see standing on the 30-minute periods that we have, 50 period simple moving average, sort of getting support right around the $25 mark, and got a big old sell wall there right around 26. A lot of buying pressure coming in by about 25.20. So I don't know if we'll see a lot of excitement coming out of CCIV, but at least today anyway, because of all this up that we've had since it was at 22, and we've seen those upsides. Really, the run up to the merger, if we see something like we just saw when we were looking at VGAC becoming ME 23andMe, we could see that same sort of thing surrounding July 23rd. And don't quote me on that date, fact check that date, but I believe that that's the one. When they do the tickers switch from CCIV to LCID, as long as the special meeting gets the required number of votes for approval for the merger, we should see that happen, and we could see that sort of run up in the price happen. Be awesome if we do catch on, if we do get that sort of excitement, we could hit like mid 30s in the price, possibly even into the 40. Like if it is 40, it's low 40, but that would be a lot of hype running into it. And then when the merger happens, well, we saw what happened with 23andMe. We get a lot of downward pressure, people just selling off, locking in their profits from the hype news. And I think there's a lot more excitement surrounding CCIV than there is 23andMe, just based off what I saw over these past few months, ever since, first of all, the rumor for Lucid merging with Churchill Capital to it actually taking place. There's just been an incredible amount of excitement over it. And that could, if we see, like I said, performance with VGAC and VGAC or to 23andMe, that could definitely happen again. All right, what else we got? Nike had a smash on earnings. They had an estimated 51 cents per share earnings, and they came out with 93 cents per share in earnings. And that's why you see this price movement. And check out that volume spike that we have right at market open. 11 million shares traded compared to yesterday's open before they announced their earnings. There we go. So 1 million shares traded. So 11 times the volume just right at the beginning of that. And they don't have a lot of room to their upside on their analyst estimates. We could see some of that hype die back down. I'm sorry, it's the middle I was thinking of. I was thinking this 161 number, which we're almost there. So that doesn't really give us a lot of room. But the 192, that high analyst estimate, could totally happen. And you can just see how active, when you look at the level 2, these trades are just coming in. There's just a lot of movement and a lot of excitement for Nike. And I think that being a big company like it is, I think their market cap, I haven't looked in a while. I think that they're a $200 billion company. So again, something to fact check, not something to quote because I'm just going off my recollection, but a $200 billion company could be a good signal for retail moving forward. And a lot of the pent-up demand that's finally showing up, that people are spending their money, it's going to carry us forward. Like I said, we're at the halfway mark till Christmas, and I think it's going to be a good 6 months for retail, that people are just going to go insane, like having the Christmases that they wish they could have had last year, and kind of being bummed about that, to having their vaccines and feeling a little bit more safe about everything, and really trying to make up for lost time. All right, let me see what else we got here. Okay, Bezos, Blue Origin. Okay. Yeah, NNDM, we need them to do their acquisitions and actually get like meaningful acquisitions and really expand their business and really get to that full scale production period. And also we need to see their price increase without further share dilution, because as that continues to happen, it's just going to continue to alienate the investors. Holy cow, look at the sorry, I just looked at the level 2 and it was pretty much flat for buy and sell. And then just a straight up right around, I think it was about 155, but it changed too quickly and I couldn't see exactly where it was happening. So I just want to catch up here. Good. Uncle Bruce talks that and Gores a lot. Yeah. Otis, good to have you, man. Yeah, Nike really has taken off. Like I said, if you were checking it out, if you were following this and waiting for those earnings to come out and really expecting a strong beat on earnings like they got, I mean, they went like 80% above where they were expected to have for their earnings, and that's the sort of result that we get from that. All right, Lucid Golden Egg 25 call. Oh yeah, that's right. That's also an options date. Vote is on July 22nd. So, yeah, if the vote's on July 22nd and it gets approved, then the 23rd, I believe, is when we would see the ticker symbol change to Lucid. And that can sometimes, depending on what you're using to track your stock, sometimes it's funny to go from what they have for the SPAC, whatever it is that they're whoever's being acquired in the reverse merger process, over to the new ticker. Sometimes that throws off our views because it gives us a brand new chart. But WEBULL seems to do that transition really well. All right, what else we got here? Huh. Okay. Angelito says solo in a room in EV space. All right. Let's go to solo here. There we go. So Angelito, I don't know which of my videos you've seen, but I tried to several times to pronounce this name right here. Let me go to the profile where it's a little bit clearer. Electromechanica Vehicles Core. There we go. This one is, let me zoom out. Looks like we have low volume on this one as well, at least during the pre-market hours. There we go. All right. Well, not a horrible looking chart that we see here, depending on where you were at in this thing. So well up, it looks like close to $13 or $14 per share. Bottomed out down here, under $3 per share. Wow. And then it's up almost 50% until then. But we have sort of a flag formation coming out of that. And we are up above this 50-period moving average, down below the 200. We want to see this start to turn back around. Once that we get a positive slope coming out of the faster moving average that we have, the slower moving average is already positive. As a matter of fact, it stayed pretty much positively sloped. It went a little bit flat for a time. We could see more bullish momentum coming out of that, especially as we move in. I believe that this is one of our EV plays. Where's our news at? There we go. Okay, share offering, 700 new arrival. Made a catalyst watch. I just wanted to check out some of the news to see what's going on. So actually, we don't actually have any news that causes any sort of big catalyst for this. But look at those prices squeezing in on one another. Get my drawing tools out. There you go. So from this high going down this way, and then from this low, there we go. There we go. So this thing looks like it could be due for a breakout, and being that we actually still have a positive slope here, and all this sell-off that we've had all the way up until probably that May 13th date, where we see a lot of lows for high growth and EV and renewables, that breakout could be to the upside. And we have, let me see, we're sort of kind of almost at resistance already at about $4.50 per share. But we do have room if we get a strong break up to probably like a $5 if we go with like a round number resist from the upside of that. Let me see some of the other things that we have. Yeah, look right across these bottoms. We are like right sitting at resistance right now. What are we trading at? Move that out of the way. 433. So if this thing does break, and the volume is out of this thing right now, so we could have that consolidation period right now before we start to get into the accumulation where that price is going to break, if it's going to break. And that's just talking about the technicals from what I see on the chart. This isn't one that I track, but it's one that I talked about before as a buying opportunity when we were in this little sideways trade back here. And it has progressed nicely since then. We haven't seen the strong recovery here like we have seen for some of the other EV and green energy plays. Oh yeah, let's uh Polly, let's check out Ethereum. I haven't done any crypto as of this live stream today. All right. Excellent. All right. I say excellent because I'm long-term bullish on Ethereum. In the short term, really, I want to see this support hold. I put on these horizontal lines for some of the areas that we see for like support and resistance. And it looks like we're failing right now on this 200 period, but this candle still forming up. So if the body of the candle closes at that 200 period moving average, then it's still holding as support for us. If we have a large penetration down through that, then we could consider it a failure. We still have a little bit of room down to about 1800 on this one. And especially because this is crypto that we're talking about, dropping down $62 when it's at 1862 right now to get us down to that sort of resistance. That's nothing. That could happen in a blink of an eye. It could happen while I'm sitting here looking at this. As a matter of fact, on some exchanges, we might even be down closer to that right now. Let's see if there's any sort of news. 49 minutes ago, announced commencement of its Ethereum altcoin mining operation. Awesome, more mining. There we go. The NFTs on Ethereum, totally huge. The NFT market, I think that you're going to have a lot of people going back and forth right now over the NFTs and whether or not they're here to stay or there's something that's going to go away. And I don't know about, I think you're going to have those big ticket NFTs that are going to go for just millions of dollars right now, especially while it's so new and you're going to find different amounts of hype that go along with it. But I think when we get down to a more efficient version of Ethereum, where that scalability really comes in through proof of stake and through sharding, and we start to see the tens or even hundreds of thousands, well, they say up to 100,000 transactions per second for Ethereum. So we'll say tens of thousands of transactions coming for Ethereum, and we start to really lower those gas fees even further from what it's at now for its proof of work, and being kind of slow and kind of clunky comparatively speaking. The NFTs, when they start to become cheap and easy and to move around and do the different transactions that we have, I think that you're going to see a proliferation of NFTs, and especially in the gaming world. So you have the gamers where you have like esports and stuff like that, but also like the smaller, like trivial, like if you think Roblox plus NFTs, for example, where little kids are so driven on like, oh my gosh, I got a trophy, this is amazing, and you get those little dopamine bursts, like smaller but like very large scale NFTs. I think are really, we're going to see that. Also for Ethereum, you have the DeFi programs, I'm sorry, the DeFis that you have on there. That's also something that's going to be just amazing as they ramp up that scalability, but that won't happen until we have proof of stake and we have sharding implemented. So the real strength for Ethereum, in my opinion, comes end of 2021 through 2022 when they actually start to make those transitions and start to really move full scale into ETH 2.0. Then we're going to really see it have its day. In the meantime, I think we're going to see any sort of volatility. This support could hold, it could break, but I think overall the Ethereum is going to move forward. And if we got to the weekly chart, there we go. The weekly chart doesn't actually look so bad. As a matter of fact, it looks like we ramped up really quickly and now it's sort of cooling off again. Fine, cool off. Like take that time, establish a good base of support, and give us more idea of what to expect. So going back to the daily, allowing us to see that expectation play out and giving us that area of support, in my mind, is a good thing, especially because one of the biggest things that's being said right now about keeping like Bitcoin ETF, for example, out of the stock exchanges in the United States is the volatility and the fact that there's really no support for it, and it's putting investors that would buy into those ETFs at too large of a risk of losing all of their investment. So the more support that we see and the less volatility that we see, the less that argument really holds up over time. And honestly, I think it's a tenuous argument as it is. I don't think that it's something that's going to hold up over time for us. So we'll keep watching Ethereum play out. It's still going to be somewhat tied to whatever Bitcoin does, but we have seen that Bitcoin has regained some strength where Ethereum hasn't really regained that strength recently. EIP 1559 is now live on the, I always say it wrong, I think it's Robson testnet, and I showed this yesterday. If you type in watchtheburn.com, you can actually see how it's performing on the testnet. And the base fee burn that we have is going to be excellent for mitigating inflation that we have, because Ethereum doesn't really have a hard cap like Bitcoin does of 21 million tokens. The Ether tokens right now have about a 4% inflation per year, and that's going to be cut down to like 0.5%. And if we see enough activity that base fee burn goes up high enough, it could actually push us back into a deflationary point where we actually get less and less, where there's less supply of Ether out there. And also with all those transactions, that greater demand being out there could be things that drive up the price for it. Not to mention, I said this yesterday about the selling pressure that we've had coming from the miners, just financing their mining operations, which is power hungry and electricity intensive. And so having to pay that off through spending or selling some of the Ether that they end up mining. When we switch to proof of stake, a lot of that power goes away, but then also the miners, we don't get the selling pressure from them either, trying to pay off all those expenses of running those miners over time. By the way, I mean, just right now, just to see, and this, as of last night, or maybe it was this morning, I think I tweeted out about this, over about $165 million worth of Ethereum burned. And for some reason, this number was reported last night. That was about 88,000, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. For some reason, this isn't tracking the same way that I expected it to. So I don't know if it has its own limitation in it. If whenever they coded this up, if it has limitations in the coding, if it just got too big, too fast, or whatever. But we do want to see this play out. This is the testnet, and there you can see the testnet that it's on. It's on the Robson testnet. And then it has to go through 2 more test nets. And if everything functions as expected for that, then we switch over from the auction style as it is right now with inflating and making it hard to predict just how high those gas fees are going to go. It makes it more predictable. And if people want their transactions to go through faster, they can add a tip to the transaction and get it expedited through the Ethereum blockchain. And so that makes it easier for the DeFi and the wallets and everything to give more consistent fees for the transactions that are taking place through the Ethereum blockchain. All right, what else we got here? FRX running today. Nice. Up over 5% right now. Look at that. I remember this was mentioned, if not yesterday, the day before. So whoever brought this up, if you were invested, kudos. It's nice to see that sort of ramp up that we have. Let's see if there's any news that's driving it. Proposed merger with Beachbody. Okay, that's right. This one's Beachbody. So I think it was yesterday. And let's see if they tell us when that merger is supposed to take place. There we go. Oh, special meeting held today. Business combination expect to close. Okay, so they're expecting that meeting to close today. There you go. So if we play this out, this could be something that we get that spike and up until that close happens, and then we could see a sell-off over the next couple of days. And Beachbody's, it's pretty big as far as the fitness programs that it has, and it has subscription models, and they have one-time fees. They also have a performance line of products that it can be nutritional supplements, that they also have clothing out there. I think they're working on putting out actual fitness equipment, sort of like with what Peloton's doing. Let's look intraday. See what's going on. Got a decent battle between the buyers and the sellers here. All right, so check that out. This is on the 30-minute chart. And if this candle keeps dropping here, then and penetrates more than what it is right now, we could definitely see a double top resist. But then that lets us know what to expect, just shy of $12. So you could call it $12, sort of like that area of resistance that we find where the bears are going to keep that price down a little bit. You could see that volume increase. So the special meeting must have gone well. And so is it body, I think was what they're switching to, BODY from FRX. So we'll have to watch that play out. We could definitely see some profit taking from this run up after the results of the special meeting come out that say, yep, we're going to switch. And then whoop, people take their profits. And then after that, it becomes more about the fundamentals than it does about the price action that we see surrounding the special meeting. Has the ticker change coming today? Good. BlackBerry, huh? Woo, they're okay, between 5 and 6% down right now. Nice. Okay, so this one I would definitely look to see what the momentum plays are doing. It looks like we actually have a decent amount of support coming in right around $12 per share. And you can see the price sort of turning around like that. We'll see what happens to the sell side pressure on that. And if this is the bottom for us and we're moving in, we're past 10 o'clock, we could see some of that price recover as time goes on. I think that they did just report earnings. I'll be honest, I don't know that much about what BlackBerry does. I remember the PDA cell phones, whatever you want to call them, personal digital assistant cell phones, and like it was the smartest pre-smartphone that was out there, and it was so cool. I remember my mom getting one, and it's funny because my mom isn't really the biggest techie person, but she's always seemed to be really drawn to high-tech cell phones. Her iPhone is newer than mine. As a matter of fact, for the years that I've had an iPhone, her iPhone has always been generations beyond what mine is, and she just seems to kind of keep going right into that. So we have a gap down when we're looking at BlackBerry here, and honestly, it could be finding support right around that $12 mark. So it could bounce a little bit from here. So maybe intraday, if we found bottom, that we could ride some of that price back up for a little bit. If it is going to fill this gap, we have room up to maybe like 1250 or so. So that would be something to look at. This could just continue to fall back down for us, especially if all this hype and all this momentum has gone out, and if the shorts come back in and then push that price down, we have room to go further down. So just definitely, I would play that carefully if you're going to play it at all. For me, this is one that I'm just staying away from. I just don't know enough about it. Yeah, Invesco Solar, the tan. There we go. All right, so I was talking about this one. I had to go back and check the date on my video. I was talking about solar down in here, that we didn't see the same turnaround in price that we were seeing with some of the other high growth and renewable plays. And finally, we're seeing more of that price action come out as we get into the later part of June. I almost said mid-June, but we're well past mid-June. We have, today's the 25th. We have less than a week of June left, so I would definitely call that late June by this point. I think solar is going to be great. I think that there's a lot of innovation that is still to be had with solar moving forward, working on getting out that peak efficiency out of it. And I remember a while back reading about perovskite crystals, and they're little liquid crystal formations that actually produce an electrical charge when they're exposed to sunlight. And they can be made from a couple different compounds. There are trade-offs to them. I think the biggest thing that's holding them back right now is how quickly they degrade over time, and trying to build that sort of stability that allows them to capture the sun's energy in the form of electricity while still remaining stable. And then also it's about, I think lead is like one of the primary elements that is in it. And I think, don't quote me on this one, but I think barium I think there's some radioactive substance, but that it would be bound in there as well. And they're trying to find solutions that don't have such toxic materials in them. But with perovskite crystals, what they're finding is that they can pretty much paint them on any surface, and through any variety of colors. Like they can put them on windows and stuff, and really like painting over the windows on sides of buildings and stuff, where you couldn't use silicone solar panels to do that because it would just black out everything. They don't allow the light to come through, whereas perovskite crystals do. Well, I think that that's what they're using to paint over the surface of some of the solar panels to try and optimize some of that um, some of that energy from the sun that comes through. I think 30% is like the theoretical limit, and after that, the rest is lost to heat. And the perovskite crystals help to push us up towards that theoretical limit when combined with silicone. So 200-day moving average that we have, we've gone up above it. And if we close up there, good. That means that we could be looking at the 200-day simple moving average that I have here as a form of support for that. And then we're also starting to turn a corner here on the faster moving average that we have. So these are good bullish signs for us, that you can see where we resisted against it and now we broke up above it. So solar, in my mind, being part of the infrastructure play, renewable energy play, I think that solar has a lot of good moves ahead of it. Somebody mentioned in the comments about Maxion. If I can type the right letters, there we go. Here's Maxion Solar. And I mentioned this a while back that it did have a fairly huge amount of upside. And I think I mentioned it when it was down around this price that we have, like $14 to $16 per share. It looks like it's about 25% up from then. So I would say that we're doing all right. Certainly not back up where it was at 57. So almost $58 per share before the big sell-off. And it hasn't recovered the same way that other ones have. If you look at the analyst estimates on this, we have a lot of room up to the high end estimate of $33 per share. And it'd definitely be worthwhile to checking out some of the news on there to see how much further it has to go, and also to see where these analyst estimates are falling. Because right now it looks like a traffic light that we have three analysts, one for a strong buy, one for an underperform, and one for a hold. So that underperformed down to 13. So it could also have a fair amount to tumble as well. Virgin Galactic still sticking around that 20% mark, by the way. All right, let me see. So many things here. Are you able to transmit in 1080p? Charts are fuzzy at 720. It should be coming in at 1080. If it's not, I will check into that with my streaming software and see. I pay for the service to be at 1080p. So if it's not coming through in 1080p, then I have to find out why it's not coming through in 1080p. But thank you for letting me know that, and that's definitely something that I'll check into. Long term. All right, NASDAQ tanking. There you go. Let me see. Angelita, you're going to have to let me know if this is the right one. All right. So carbon play, graphene-based. Graphenes are huge right now. Big volume spike yesterday, not compared to what we had before. This does look like we're in penny stock territory for this one, and we had a very nice flag formation going on, and it took a while, but it finally did break out and to the upside. Actually, you could even argue that it was a pennant formation because we have the tapering highs, the tapering lows, and then possibly a catalyst that took place on 6/24, so yesterday. Wow, I'm actually not seeing anything news-wise on here. Doesn't mean there's not news. Webull doesn't always have everything. But yeah. Do you have any analyst estimates on this one? No analyst. Probably too small. We actually, so if we look at this in a bigger sense, besides looking just here at the end of this whole thing is sort of forming one big old wedge pattern for a breakout to the upside. So depending on what the company has going for it, and depending on what the market surrounds it with, what's it in? So basic materials. So if materials in general move strongly, especially where carbon and graphene technologies are concerned, those would be drivers that we would have for Gratomics. So I would watch to see what the overall market's doing surrounding graphenes, for example, and that could give you more of an indicator on what to expect from them. Excellent price action recently. Okay, Nokia. I like Nokia. Honestly, Nokia is one of my favorite 5G plays. I believe that they are an underdog and that they should have gotten a lot more attention than they did. They've been down under $4 recently. There we go. Look at that, 375 back in March, and just sort of struggling for a while, and not a lot going for it. And it kind of gets labeled as a meme stock by the media. And I just think that there's more to it than that for Nokia. That they have a lot amount of of coming out for them for tech, moving into 5G, and this sort of bump that we see is, in my opinion, it's long overdue that we have. And you can see the short squeeze that they went through. They went up just for a moment, and I remember watching this. It wasn't very long at all that they went up to almost $10 per share. Let's go out to the weekly chart on Nokia so you can see where they've come from. In my opinion, for being as big as they were for cell phones, that they've rotated very nimbly into the 5G space, that they had a lot to slim away, that they had a lot of restructuring to do, a lot of improvements to do, and they did lose market share in China. So that was something that sort of mitigated their results a little bit. However, their open RAN, their open radio access networks that allow other companies to talk to each other through their 5G technology that they have is going to be huge for them. And when we look at the weekly chart, we had a big drop coming out to 618, but now that we're getting to the end of this week, 625, completely engulfed and completely canceling that out. So if we had a biweekly chart, you would see a very narrow range candle coming out from that. That would be a smaller range than these. And we are getting near that sort of resistance right across the top of the candles, 550 per share. So the next move for this over the short term is likely one that could possibly take us downward rather than upward. But I think overall, I think that they are going to increase in price over time as we rotate more and more into 5G, as that infrastructure plays out. That I think that they're going to have a huge role to play in that with their technologies that they're releasing. So yeah, we have a little bit of room to the upside yet, but we do have that space in there that likely will fill out over time. They'll probably drop down to close to $5 per share. I think that they'll hold above 5, but we'll see what sort of news comes out, what sort of competition they have, and really the adoption of their technologies is really where it's at. And I believe that they're pretty huge in the European markets, and in the United States, I think that they're actually starting to do pretty well too. Humble ABM will get listed. Comments and solar were related to that. Oh yeah. Okay. So a couple things to catch up on. There we go. Bring Humble up here. This is one that I don't know a lot about other than hearing about it and checking it out and seeing some of the price action take place. Last I looked at it was when it was absolutely taking off. I was like, wow, that's cool to watch the price go up, and it's sold off significantly since then. And is that a financial play? No, industrials. Oh no, digital money network company. Okay. Industrial commercial services, financial products, consumer and merchants. Humble mobile app. Yeah, I thought it was financial. So it says financial here. It says industrial there. Let's see what it says down here. By integrating multiple currencies, payment methods, financial service, and reduced clicks for the consumer and mobile wallet providers such as. Okay. Yeah, so it actually has a fair amount of competition facing it. So for them, it's a matter of really market penetration is what it sounds like. I don't really follow them so much. Where are we sitting at right now? $1.30 per share. It's actually holding relatively higher than what it did. It bottomed out at about 75 cents, and now it's holding bottom right around $1.18 down to about $1.15. I'd call it $1.20-ish, fairly good support that we have. And we're just trading in a small range. We're actually still have an upward slope for a positive slope for the 200 period. And we have a negative slope for the faster moving average that we have here. But that could be attributed to some of that further sell-off that we saw. This could be starting to turn things around a little bit. We've definitely broken this very steep line coming down this way. We've broken out of that. So if this is going to turn around, we could start seeing some of that reversal sometime soon. All right, what else we got? ABML, yeah. ABML applied for an uplisting to the NASDAQ. That means that we should probably look at ALPP as well. And oh my goodness, like if they're going to break out to the upside, that breakout's probably happening soon. That's if they are. I don't know. But check out that flag pattern that we have. And now we have this bullish pennant pattern coming up. If it does break to the upside, it's going to put us probably near like that 280, 290 mark, somewhere around in there. It could definitely do that based on what we see. And what I'm basing it on, like I said, that's if it does break to the upside. We do have positive slopes in both of our moving averages that I have up here. And what we're looking at, so from $1.52 up to about 261, that's $1.10. And where's it trading at now? Well, if we have flagpoles with the same height, so if it breaks out and goes the same height as this last flagpole that we have for ABML, that's saying that we could go up over $3 per share. I don't know if I see it coming out that strong, I think we'd have to have some pretty good news for that. But it has rested, and you've noticed we have some tapering upward for the lows, some tapering downward for the highs. The bears are winning just a little bit in this, so that could mute some of our effects a little bit. But this is one I would absolutely keep my eyeballs on. Really, they need to get that plant built and the ground broken, so that way they can get those stations underway and really show us that they're able to cost effectively and with excellent scale do the recycling for the lithium ion batteries. And that comes out of Fernley, Nevada. So you can always go to Fernley's website and check out the different permits that they have. And I don't know if they're still waiting on permits from the state of Nevada. They might be for their environmental permits. If they are, those could also be catalysts that we could see in their price. We see a nice little support there. I keep on doing that. So support there on the 200, and then look how nicely it resisted right along the 50 period moving average. And then finally, we're now up above the moving averages. So that's a bullish sign for us. And we could see some of that growth continue in the renewables and EV type plays. Excellent. Okay. I want to look at ALPP since we're talking about uplistings. So Alpine Fortech, I swear we are just waiting for that NASDAQ uplisting. It's been like over 20 weeks or something like that since they did their application, and just nothing. But look at the support that it's holding from this bottom over here all the way across these bottoms. We're doing all right. Like we're sitting at about $3 up to about 325 or so. So about 25 cents in that area of support that we have. And holding up above 3, that could just be like status quo for us while we wait for further price action coming out of Alpine Fortech. And I think that the next big thing for them is probably going to be the uplisting. It's got to come sometime soon. See you, Lee. Thanks for joining. Check out the news real quick. Okay, Scares. Okay, awesome. A letter to shareholders. That was a while ago. All right. Twitter might actually be a good place when you don't see a lot of PR coming out that the news is so far apart. Go to Twitter and find the people that are really passionate about following these companies, that's pretty much what they follow is that one thing. And they try to pick up every little scraping of news that they can find. Type in $ALPP and, see if anything's up out there. And I think that you're going to find a lot of things right now about probably the Vayu drone and the other thing which is one of their acquisitions that they've completed, I think back in 2020. And then also the NASDAQ uplisting is going to be the other thing that you're likely to see. Let's see if we can check it out quick. No problem, Darren. Love the UK. I absolutely want to get back over there within the next few years. All right, I don't want to wait for that to load. We'll give that a moment to load. Check out Arcimoto. They've one of the people in my Discord is very bullish on Arcimoto, and I believe they live in Oregon. They said that they need California, maybe it was, that required the motorcycle license in order to drive it around. But yeah, they actually have a decent flag formation coming up here, so that we could start seeing some of the signs of the break to the upside on that one, and this could be moving a lot with the EV stuff. As an owner of a 7-passenger SUV, it's my wife's SUV. There's a lot of times she drives that to work, and it's just her in the car. And Arcimoto, they're like, well, why would we do these sort of trips? Actually, they talk more about like grocery store trips and stuff where we'd have more of the short range day-to-day stuff where we wouldn't need a lot of room for passengers and everything. And so they make a much smaller vehicle and also try to price it at a really competitive price that people are willing to pay that money in order to get that sort of savings and also really be super environmentally friendly in the process with the smaller vehicles that they have. So I absolutely love the idea of Arcimoto, and they're in production already. And so it's a matter of watching how that production plays out. And if they hit their targets or exceed their targets, or they fall short of their targets, those are things that we want that guidance from that company to really watch and see how it's going to behave in the future. Looks like we are resisting right now. Somewhere, got 3 different tops right around like that 1658, and check out that huge price on the level 2 at like 1650-ish. A lot of sell side pressure probably keeping us down around where we're at right now. Wells Fargo, or some of the other ones that I saw real quick. WN. There we go. All right, so solar window, if this is the one that I'm remembering correctly, using solar tech for the windows and providing just commercial solutions for really taking that window economy that they have, so many windows on the surface of the building, and turning it into useful electrical energy. If I'm remembering correctly, that's what we're talking about. For them producing, getting that product out and that prototype out and really showing people what they're capable of, I think that those are the things that are going to cause us to reverse this trend that we're currently seeing right now. Have a death cross formation up right now, and we have support falling down all the way to about 529 per share. So really, we want to see some good news coming out of there and some strong catalysts that we would have. And so be American power. Okay, wow, that could be get a lot of production in America. That can be good for American companies. But yeah, right now we're not seeing signs of a reversal. We have pretty much a constant downward slope across the tops of these, and we really want to watch it to break that line to the upside, and also some volume come in that allows us to be confident in that upside break. What else we got? TTOO. T2 Biosystems. I've looked at this one before. There's about 3 minutes until the 10:30 mark, and that means that I've been live streaming for, well, a little over an hour at this point in time. So I'll do a few more, and then 10:30 I'm going to call it a day for this, and then I'll be back again on Monday. I just want to remind you guys that I am on my honeymoon from June 29th until July 6th, and so I won't be live streaming during those times. I will be checking in the markets. I'll be checking with my Discord, in those spare moments that I have. I'm usually up before my wife is. So, I'll need something to do, and watching the financial markets and doing some trades. So I'll be in the Patreon. I'll be in the Discord, but I won't be live streaming until I come back from that. So I just wanted to toss that out there, that I'm not just fading away somewhere, but that I'm on my honeymoon. And then when I get back, I'll be right back to it. So TTOO Biosystems. Not too bad. We've seen some of this excitement around the same time period in some other companies. It was trading up above and treating the 50-period moving average here as support, and then it dropped below, and now it's treating it as resistance. So at least in the short term, it looks like we're stuck right around like $1.25. But it is kind of flattening out from what it was. We do have a negative slope forming in our long, slow moving average that we have here. And we want to see that turn around in order for that to be bullish as well. Sitting at the low analyst estimate, we have a lot of room up there. We have decent buy side pressure. Two analysts say strong buy. One says to buy it and one says to hold it. What news do we have 5 hours ago? Not bad from Guru Focus coming out and saying modestly undervalued. Participating in clinical conferences June and July. So depending on what they do, I'm trying to see what they go to the profile here. Oh, that's right, in vitro tech. Got it. Yeah, so healthcare in general is something that you want to watch out for that, and that strength for healthcare, which I believe is supposed to be pretty strong coming into at least 2022. And I don't know that I can make a long-term call on this from where it's at, but I can tell you that you're looking for a turnaround in this faster moving average that we have here, where it starts crossing back up towards your 200 period. And that could be a buy signal for us that it's turning back around and that we're going to break out from this large part of the sell-off. Now, mind you, we've had about a 25% upside from the bottom already, and it looks like we have room for another like 20 cents on top of that. So another like 16% upside from where it's currently setting. And if you look at from this peak that we have here, as a matter of fact, every peak that we've had since then is just a little bit lower than the one that came before. We're still sort of in bearish territory, even by the highs off of that. This is the first time that we saw a higher low in a while. I mean, this one is higher than that one, but this goes all the way back to March. There's a low, lower low, lowest low, and now we started turning around, and it did finish just a little bit higher than that one. So maybe we are seeing signs of a reversal already, and this could just be that early part of it. Oh, thank you very much, Taco. I appreciate it. All right, guys, it's about that 10:30 hour, so I am going to sign off for the day. I will be back, like I said, on Monday, and then I'll be off for a few days because of my honeymoon. I'll be over at the Patreon, Discord. I still have my weekly newsletter to put out there, my weekly watch list of stocks. I should still, it does span, my honeymoon does span that weekend, but I still, because I have that that responsibility to my Patreons, my aim is still to have that out there and ready for them. I think on average, I'm up about 3% for this week, and it's been a good week in the market, so that's a good thing. Not too many losers in there, and that's what you see when the market's green. When the market's red for an entire week, then it's hard to find that green. But there's some pretty good performers. You can look through it. You can pick and choose. The link for my Patreon and my link for Webull, my referral link, both of those are down in the description. I'm going to get going for now. Hope you have a great Friday. Hope you have a great weekend. And let's keep on digging our way out of the middle class. I got to say, I can't leave it soon enough. I absolutely love the idea of securing my family's financial future and just not ever having to feel like I'm under a financial thumb ever again. And, this being here with you guys gives me that sort of opportunity. And I hope that it also helps provide some opportunities to you as well. Have a good day, everyone. Have a great weekend.